Probably my most requested video of all time is always what is in my collection. And so today I wanted to present to you my current state of the collection for 2025. A lot of shakeups, a lot of changes in my collection, so let's get right into it. So guys, as I mentioned today, I wanted to present to you my state of the collection for 2025. A little bit about me and my collecting journey. I've been collecting now for 10 years. I started when I was 16. I bought my first mechanical watch, and I'd owned watches before that, you know, like Armani and Citizen, but I wouldn't say I was particularly fond of watches, right? Those were just kind of jewelry pieces to me. I just really enjoyed kind of having something on my wrist. But it was really when I turned 16, I bought an Orient Explorer, which was my first real mechanical watch, turned that watch over and just absolutely fell in love. And ever since, it's kind of brought me along a crazy journey of collecting watches and now working in the business. I will say this, I'm a little bit different, I guess, than most collectors in that I'm not a very sentimental collector. Especially over the last 5 years, I've gone through a lot of watches. If I had to estimate, it'd be somewhere in the range of like 30 to 50 watches, anything from Royal Oaks to Daytonas to a bunch of different Rolex Explorer, Independence, Laurent Ferrier, Pateks. There's a bunch of different watches that have been in and out of my collection. And I'll say this, I've kind of adapted almost the Bruce Williams motto of watch collecting, which is kind of collecting experiences. And I feel it's very, very important, especially as somebody who's in the business and clients kind of look to as, I hate using this word, but like an expert, right? Or at least an informed opinion about watches. I really feel like I can't give people an informed perspective without physically owning the watches themselves. That's the only way, you know, I can really give an unbiased view of the watch or the kind of different models that I deal with on a day-to-day basis and the different brands that I deal with also on a day-to-day basis. But I guess without further ado, let's get into what's in my watch collection. And let's start first with the watch that I've owned the longest. I've talked about this watch a ton. If you have been following me any kind of time on YouTube, going all the way back to when I used to make videos on my own personal channel, you'll recognize this watch. It is a Rolex GMT Master 2, reference 126710 BLNR, aka the Batgirl. I used to call it the Bruce Wayne because I thought it was always the dressed up version of the Batman. You know, the Jubilee bracelet lending it to be more dressy, but now the Bruce Wayne is used for a different watch, so I just call it the Batgirl. But not much to say about this watch. This is a watch I actually am fortunate enough to own for free due to a crazy story where I received a crazy amount of donations on a live stream one night. And then one of the very generous viewers who gifted me a ton of donations that night actually said you could pick any watch from Rolex that you want. And I ended up choosing this one, and a month later, I ended up getting this watch and paid retail for it, which is just exceptional to think about. It's one of my most prized possessions, a watch I've owned for over 4 years now, and I have to say that every single time I wear it, I love it more and more each and every single time, and it's the watch that I was wearing today prior to recording this video, so I will put it back on my wrist. Absolutely love this thing. And yeah, this is the only watch I'll say that will never ever leave my collection. Everything else, you know, for the right price or if the circumstance kind of was playing into effect, probably could leave my collection. You know, there's some that I do really enjoy. I don't know if I'd really want to part with, but you know, this is the one watch, no matter the offer, no matter the situation, no matter what, I'd figure it out, but I would never ever sell. It is without question my most prized possession. So moving on to watch number 2, it's the most recent addition to my collection, and that is the IWC Ingenieur. The new Ingenieur, I believe it's in 41 millimeters with a black dial. I chose specifically the black dial because the 1832, as designed by Gerald Gento, was actually a black dial. And this one I actually retrofitted with the Mark 20 clasp, which is really, really good because I get to use the incredible micro extension system of the Mark 20 on this actual wristwatch, which makes it super practical to wear on a day-to-day basis. This is really kind of going to be my go-to beater watch. I know it sounds terrible to say that because this is a very expensive luxury watch, but I definitely plan on wearing this in more kind of unserious situations where, you know, my Batgirl maybe is something, not that I want a baby, but want to wear less and less in those kind of situations. This will definitely take its place, and it's a perfect watch for that reason. You know, 100 meters water resistant with a screw down crown, the beautiful integrated bracelet, which I feel the size and proportion really fits my wrist perfectly. Love the interesting dial kind of with that incredible pattern. It's got a 5-day power reserve as well, which is really, really nice. But of course, the fact that it's a Genta watch with a Genta pedigree makes it all the more special. For those who don't know, I actually owned a 15202 and a 26315 ST, which is respectively a 39mm jumbo and a 38mm chronograph. And this captures the essence of what I loved about the Royal Oak, except it's taken really to a much more downscaled level in the sense that it's not as flashy and out there. So one thing I disliked about the Royal Oak is that it's so recognizable and so flashy. And given the price point, I was always kind of pulling down on my cuff because I was so worried somebody would notice my watch or I'd get kind of mugged. You know, it was a very expensive watch, probably too expensive for me to actually own at the time. And this one here is far more affordable, and I think it still has the Genta pedigree and all the amazing sleek design cues, of course, of the Royal Oak, but really taken to the next level because it is the Ingenieur and totally different in that regard, and it is a lot more low-key of a watch. So yeah, I've really, really been enjoying this wristwatch, but you know, this is going to be something I'm going to have a lot of fun with in those kind of beater situations. Again, it being a luxury watch, but it is what it is. This next watch is from a micro brand. Actually, it's a Chicago-based micro brand called Heim, and it is the Heim World Timer. A great watch. I'll say this, I was never one for micro brands just because it's not the genre of watches that I really collect. And I've had this watch now for a couple months, and the quality is exceptional. For sub $1,000, you're getting a World Timer, which has a really interesting font all over the dial, specific to the local countries that they're denoting. A great integrated bracelet with, of course, a micro adjustment, which is really, really nice. And it's super easy to use the micro adjustment itself, which is awesome for a sub 1,000 watch. It has this kind of retro look on the beads of rice bracelet. And this white dial is really reminiscent of the Frederic Constant World Timer, which was actually a watch I was considering to buy as my first luxury wristwatch. So my first luxury wristwatch was a PEM 183, a black steel radium mirror with the wire lugs at the time. And that was my first watch, but I really consider a Frederic Constant World Timer. And I love that watch, still do love that watch, but I ended up going with the PEM, and this kind of is reminiscent of that. But I will say this is a watch that definitely won't stay in my collection. So probably by the next time that I do a State of the Collection video, this will definitely be gone from my collection. I think I've just realized that micro brands are just not for me. Despite this watch having everything, you know, you should in theory love. It's a Chicago-based World Timer. The fact that it has a great bracelet with a micro adjustment, great complication that's very user-friendly, very unique design quality, kind of retro-inspired, perfect size in like 38 millimeters. Again, sub $1,000 is a great price point, especially for a beater watch. There's just something about micro brands that just never gelled with me personally. Even I don't have in front of me today, but it's the Casio Mr. G G-Shock, the B5000, I believe is the reference, which I showed in the last State of the Collection video. I don't think I've worn that watch, the Casio Mr. G G-Shock, since my last State of the Collection video. That's kind of, I'm at a point where I just like to wear mechanical watches, and I'm going back to kind of the mechanical snobbery, as some people may call it. But yeah, I think micro brands is just not a genre of collecting that's personally for me. Doesn't mean that the watches aren't great, it's just not for me. And yeah, for that reason, it will probably not stay in my collection for very much longer, but I'll enjoy my time with it and then move it along to the next home. Whether I take a loss on it or not, doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, that's part of the watch hobby, and I'm totally okay with that. So next up is the Montblanc Monopusher chronograph. I showed previously my last State of the Collection, a Minerva Movement Monopusher chronograph that was made in a limited edition for Hodinkee. This one is a little bit different. It's a rose gold case with a silver dial. And what can I say about this watch? It has the same kind of caliber as the Montblanc Monopusher chronograph from Hodinkee, except this one is in 40 millimeters with a rose gold case, silver dial, pulsation scale, which is very rare for modern chronographs. I really like that. It's kind of an old school kind of register on the actual watch itself. The movement is spectacularly finished. This kind of plays the role of an independent in my personal watch collection, and I think it does it absolutely perfectly. The finishing is top-notch, it's spectacular, and it's a monopusher chronograph, it being probably one of the most complicated chronographs one can make. And the fact that it's such an amazing value, I mean, you could pick these up for a fraction of their retail price on the secondary market, and I think the quality is just exceptional. I'm a big fan of these Montblanc Monopusher chronographs, and I have to say that it is just spectacular. And Montblanc as a brand is one that I'm really fond of. I own a ton of their leather goods. I wear leather backpack all the time. I'm actually wearing Montblanc cufflinks today. I have a bunch of cufflinks from them. I have a bunch of pens from them as well. So I'm a big collector of the brand itself, and this particular watch really speaks to me. It's a very me watch, right? It's complicated, it's high level, it's exceptionally finished, and that's kind of the underpinning of my watch collection overall. It's just kind of finding watches that I think are an exceptional value. And this watch is certainly a watch that definitely resonates with me and is one that I don't think will ever part from my collection. Again, for the price I paid, I'd be hard pressed to find a watch that is better finished, better made, and more complicated. It's just spectacular. I really, really do enjoy it. It's such a refined chronograph and just absolutely beautiful. Okay, second to last is my Vacheron Traditionnelle. This is a watch I did a standalone video on, it being a limited edition of 15 pieces with a spectacular kind of blue dial. The blue is very reminiscent. I think it's pretty much the same blue as the new 222 in steel. There's a white gold case, which is really, really nice. Of course, a manual winding movement with a Geneva seal. Again, limited edition of 15 pieces. I did end up finding out the story behind this watch, which is actually really interesting. I believe it was made for what's called the Paris Watch Club, which is a kind of really high-level, high-spending collector group that basically made this watch. They got the renderings. They loved the watch from Vacheron. When they actually physically received the watch, they hated it. It apparently didn't match the renderings at all. And so they actually ended up returning the watch, and Vacheron just kind of ended up selling it to friends and family. And one of them leaked out to my friends on the secondary market, and I ended up purchasing it for what I think is an absolute smoking deal. This is a watch that, I'll be honest, I almost came very, very close to parting with. And the reason was that I got a crazy offer for it, more than double what I paid, which was something that was very, very tempting. But this watch really clicked for me when I was in Geneva at Watches and Wonders. I'd gotten a chance to see for the first time Rexep Rexepi Chronomètre Contemporain, which is an absolutely amazing watch. A watch obviously I would love to own someday. And it kind of clicked for me when I was on the bus on my way to the fair, looking at a picture I'd taken of it, and I was wearing this watch and I was looking at it and I was like, okay, we have a similar size in 38 millimeter, the similar kind of elongated lugs, manual wind movement that's beautifully finished, multiple interior angles, Geneva seal, but it's from a brand with 270 years of history, and that's limited to only 15 pieces in the world that probably most people will have never heard of, never seen, and I will never see anybody else wearing in the entire world. So for that reason, I had never sold it, and I ended up saying, you know what, this is a watch that's going to be a definite keeper in my collection. And for a very, very long time, I'd been looking for kind of that unique Vacheron wristwatch that would kind of be an anchor piece in my collection. I always thought it was going to be a 1921, and I love the 1921. Maybe at some point I will actually buy it and add it to my collection. But this to me is so much more unique. It's so much more special because of the fact that it's only 15 pieces. It's a numbered edition as well. And this for me is a definite keeper in my collection long term. It's one that I absolutely have fallen in love with, and there's a huge amount of pride of ownership in that watch with me. And then last but certainly not least is my new Patek Philippe 5235R. Not much I need to say about this. I just did a full unboxing on the channel, so if you missed it, please do check it out. It's unboxing, actually not one, but two Patek Philippe's, my first two Patek Philippe, this one being the second. And this is probably one of my grail modern Patek Philippe's kind of top three, I would say, references that they make currently in production for Patek. Love the regulator format, love the micro rotor movement, love this case that kind of is reminiscent of the 3448, the first self-winding perpetual calendar from Patek Philippe. The size is perfect, the movement is super ingenious, and of course it's the first micro rotor, really any movement for a calendar wristwatch that doesn't use the 240 or 324 base movements. For me, this is like the epitome of Patek Philippe. It's modern engineering, modern build quality, modern proportions, complicated, it's very unique, but it's super elegant and classy and refined, and I think it's one of the most beautiful watches that I've ever owned, honestly. And I could say this is one of these watches I set down on a Friday and I picked it back up on a Monday and was almost going through withdrawals. I was like, I need to put this watch back on my wrist. I've never really experienced that other than with this, my Backrol, which is the watch that I've owned for the longest time. And this is definitely, for me, going to be probably a keeper in the collection for a very, very long time. I've kind of reached a point in my collection where I look down in this box and there's nothing I really want to swap or replace or add to it other than the Heim, right? And I've thought a lot about what's going to be the last watch that I add, because I'm really limiting myself to only 6 watches, 6 nice watches kind of thing. If I decide to get a collection of G-Shocks and other things, that's a different story. But I don't see myself parting with anything here. This for me is a really well-built collection. I look at it and I'm filled with so much pride of ownership of every single piece that I've added to the collection. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where it goes. What will be next? Maybe an FP Journe, maybe an MB&F, maybe an LUC Chopard, which I'm a big fan of. Maybe it's another Vacheron, maybe another Patek. I really don't know. But I think there's really so many different ways I can go about it, and that's what I'm really, really looking forward to. But yeah, this is my state of the collection. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Let me know down in the comments what is the next watch you think I should add to my collection. I don't foresee this changing in the future, but let's see what it will look like in 2026. As always, my name is Marco from Verdienst Jewelry. I'll see you guys in the next one.